Let me start off by saying thank you to everyone who is sacrificing their very busy daily routine right now of playing Cyberpunk 2077 and being so attracted to customizing the different penis sizes and vagina shapes that you can have with your character in that game and deciding to watch this vinyl collection video. Alrighty, back with another vinyl collection part in this series. We are now in part 4. And before we get into it, just a few things I want to address. Yes, I'm going to do an Albums of the Year list later on this month. Just right now I'm compiling up a list of how I want to rearrange everything, so that'll be coming within maybe the next week or so. And then the other thing is, a lot of people have been telling me that I should do, less or more than 15 records per part. That way each part ends and starts with a specific band instead of it being within the middle of a band discography of my collection. And personally for me, I just want to keep it at 15 no matter what. No matter where it ends, no matter where it starts for each part, it's going to be 15 and that's it. And then finally, what's going to be playing in the background, I got this demo tape from the band, or one of the band members. It's pronounced Blutzgewig, hopefully I'm saying that right. Really good, just raw, riff-heavy black metal from the States, so definitely check that out. Link will be provided for it, like always, for the background music. So in part 3, we ended with Annul Nathrak, and in part 4, we're going to start with them again with the later area of them. This is Annul Nathrak with Deseratum. This album was released back in 2014, and I know I've talked about it a lot, but this is one of the very first albums I ever reviewed here on YouTube when I started doing YouTube. And, really nostalgia now has become the thing that gets me back into this album more and more. And, it's always a mixed bag for me, this album, when I look at it and listen to it. Because there's some parts I really enjoy, and there's some parts I really don't care for. But maybe it's just the type of mood I'm in when I'm talking about it, to my personal opinion on it. But honestly now, I wouldn't say this is technically their worst album anymore, because as we progress on in this video, I'll tell you which one I think it is now. But this is where they start to have a little bit more of a deathcore-ish sound in it, because it's the track of Maggots and Humanity, which is my personal favorite song on here. There's a breakdown part that just sounds like pure deathcore worship. And it makes sense, because around this time Mick was doing more production stuff for a lot of bands that were kind of in the deathcore range. Like, I know he's this songwriter for Motionless in White. He does production work a little bit for Carnifex, and he does a lot of work with Bleeding Through. So I feel like that kind of rubbed off on him in some way, shape, or form with this album. And I guess the biggest complaint a lot of people have with it is it's just a little too pure for Annul Nathrak. But still, there are some stand-up points on here that I go back to time and time again, like Idol, the title track Deseratum, the Joy Stream, and the track The One Thing Needful. Some killer stuff on here. As for the layout, thankfully, unlike the other Annul Nathrak albums, this isn't a back-on-black pressing, so it actually sounds decent overall. So you have artwork, backside, comes on a gatefold, and is just on standard black vinyl. Then I also have the follow-up, which would be The Whole of the Law. After listening to this album a couple more times, I gotta say now personally, this is the worst Annul Nathrak album. While the first half of it actually has some pretty decent stuff, like Depravity Favors the Bold, Hold Your Children Close and Pray for Oblivion, and We Will Fucking Kill You, the second half of this album doesn't really have anything memorable. And I think the real big issue I have with this album is it's just so overblown. It's like they've added so many extra bells and whistles to this album that it just feels so annoying at times that nothing becomes memorable. Because every other album, as chaotic as it is, it still just has guitars, bass, drums, vocals, just all like the bare bones stuff you'll want with extreme music, but just done in such an extreme way, very fast and chaotic style. This album is just like there's all this extra stuff that just annoys me a bit. Like, I forget the actual guy's name, but there's like guest spots on this album from the project Gore Noise, and just everything becomes so overblown with electronics on here that it just doesn't cut as much. Then the parts that don't have like electronic usage, it's layered in a very obnoxious way that kind of outshines like the actual like riffs in this album. And like the rhythm guitars sound more beefed up than the lead guitars on this album. It's a mess. Honestly, how this album comes off, that just doesn't have anything memorable about it. Like, yeah, it's extreme, but it's just so overblown that there's just nothing that grabs my attention about it. That, you know, more and more I listen to it, it's just, I would say now at this point, my least favorite within their discography. Once again, though, this is another Metal Blade pressing right here. So you have artwork right here, which I'm pretty sure Gorgoroth has used this artwork, along with plenty of other bands out there within the extreme metal realm. Backside with track listings. Comes with an insert sheet, and what's quite interesting about this is, even though these aren't lyrics, it's basically Mick and company basically describing what the meaning of all these songs are, which is quite different because no other album before this they released stuff like this. And as well comes on standard black vinyl, but goddamn guys, these sleeves done by Metal Blade are so fucking hideous. Like, why are you cutting your logo in half on each side? It's such an eyesore to look at. From there we go to the follow-up, which would be A New Kind of Horror. Let me start off by saying that this has the absolute worst single by Another Rock, that being Forward. A lot of people told me when I made a video all about Another Rock earlier this year that Forward is the song that got them into Another Rock, which, man, my god, I can't imagine what you must have thought when you heard basically anything else by them, because Forward is such a basic song. Like, I would never expect them to do a song like that, like this kind of like genty, groovy, basic style. And they even released the lyrics to that song, the first ever song they ever did that for at the time, which just gave me like this, you know, implications that they really didn't care all that much about this track. Just overall, to me, it's the worst thing they've done as of yet. But thankfully, though, I would say this is a massive step up from the previous album, because tracks on here like Obscene as Cancer, The Reek of Fear, New Bethlehem, which I would say is the best track on here, and Mother of Satan definitely bring like that necro style of Another Rock back in action with this album. And for me personally, I would say it's one of the better albums that Another Rock has done while being signed to Metal Blade Records. So keeping the routine going, you have the album artwork, backside. Once again comes with an insert sheet, again describing each track, so they're kind of keeping the tradition going without really releasing the lyrics for it, but giving you a description of each track. Thank you notes on the other side. Also comes with an A2 poster, and I believe this is the only album to have a poster included with the album. Basically the album artwork, wouldn't frame it, kind of find the artwork to be a bit boring, nothing really special. And the vinyl pressing, again, sadly comes in this hideous fucking sleeve that Metal Blade did for a bit. But my vinyl pressing comes on like this greenish gray marble color, limited to 300 copies. And the final thing I have by Another Rock, until we can finally move on to a different band, it'd be their latest album that came out earlier this year, Endarkment, which, yes, I own 3 different variants of it. I'll show all the different variants in a second, but yes, you know, I did an album review for it, and, you know, again, this is the last thing to talk about with them, so I kind of want to briefly go by this quickly. But yeah, I would say now this is the best album Another Rock has done while being signed to Metal Blade, because the biggest standout part about it is though they're doing nothing that different from everything they've done before, it's just Dave's singing, honestly, is the best it's been in years. I mean, the title track, Endarkment, that's like one of the best choruses they've done since Forging Towards the Sunset. And I would say Mick's writing is as strong as ever, so really good stuff by them. The only other thing to really bring up that's quite the eye-opener is that artwork. Other than the crazy over-the-top artwork, the layout, I mean, you got obviously the backside with the track listings, another insert sheet. Basically, I find this to be a waste of paper, as it's basically the censored artwork, just double-sided, so I find this to be a complete waste of paper. Then a second insert sheet, again, with track titles and a brief description of each track of what they mean with the band photo. As I stated, I own it on 3 different variants. So the first one that comes in a much better looking inner sleeve by Metal Blade This one is just a standard black. Then I got the crystal clear one that's limited to 100 copies, and the Oxblood red that's limited to, I believe, either 200 or 300 copies. Finally, moving on to a different band within this Vinyl Collection series, and that would be the one and only Anal Cunt with the EP Morbid Florist. Yeah, the infamous grindcore band Anal Cunt. That's just anything but family friendly, just always offensive and brash as they come, that did really nothing innovative other than just make grindcore as degenerate and lowbrow as you could possibly fucking get. And I think because of that, that's the reason why Anal Cunt really even has a following to begin with, because their songwriting overall, if we just subtract just the infamy with them, is really bad. Let's just get that out of the way. But, I mean, it's just one of those bands, again, like others in my collection, that is just such stupidity that you can't help but have a little fun with it. And I remember getting this at Armageddon years back, because it was like for, I think, $10, so I figured, why the fuck not? Also, it's with this very strange artwork. From what it says in the notes, that they purposely picked out this artwork because they thought this was like the gayest looking artwork they ever saw, so they figured why not put it on this EP right here. But other than that, the song titles, as you would already know, are pretty stupid and degenerate. I mean, we got song number 5, Chump Change, slow song from Split 7, I Don't Want to Dance, song number 6, some more songs, Morrissey, Guy Lombardo, bonus track. Like, these song titles are just fucking stupid. But the one song I will say that they actually made a really good riff on is the track Graceful Dead. Like, that song honestly fucks. So originally this was a 7-inch, but with this repress right here by Relapse, they turned it into a 12-inch, so artwork is still basically the same as the 7-inch. Backside with track listings and band photo. Inner sheet with just, yeah, that. And just notes to go along with everything. Plain black vinyl, but side B is an etching of the band logo. Moving on next to some French goodness. That'd be the latest full length by Airlac. As you guys know, the French do it better when it comes to black metal, because either they're going to go down the very experimental route where they really push the boundaries of what I think the genre can do, or when they don't do that, they go down the route that's very melodic, kind of like in Vein of Dissection, but still throwing in some fresh ideas that gives off like that kind of like French aesthetic that's just really now, they've made it all their own. And time again, when I listen to more and new bands from France that play in the style of black metal, it's just always stuff that I just can't get enough of. And Airlac is another band within the French scene that proves my point. This album overall is just very melodic, very atmospheric, and very captivating black metal, that these tracks are very lengthy, but at no point does anything feel like it drags out. It's a double LP, and I'm pretty sure this album ranges around an hour long, but trust me, when you're done listening to this album, you'll want even more material by this band. And from what I gather, what I remember from looking at their discography, it's not really that big. Like, I think they have like maybe 2 or 4 releases at the most, and there's always big, time gaps in between each release. But these guys, let me tell you, they put the time, effort, and passion when it comes to their songwriting, and everything they've done is worthy of listening to. So I strongly recommend checking out Airlac if you like really melodic, captivating, and atmospheric black metal. As to the layout, you have the front cover right here, gorgeous looking artwork. Backside, and comes on a gatefold, and like I stated, double LP on both on plain black vinyl. What's that? You want even more French black metal? Let me tell you guys, there's loads more within this collection videos that I'll be talking about of French black metal. And right next to Airlac is Eosoth, another French black metal band. Now, Eosoth really has a strong resemblance to that of Deathspell Omega. But whereas Deathspell Omega just gets all crazy and sporadic when they go down like their, heavier and chaotic sound, I would always look at it like Aosoth is when Deathspell Omega doesn't want to do that, where they do all the kind of like experimental stuff that isn't crazy. Aosoth does that to a more melodic and more stripped down to a degree, but God, their songwriting is absolute masterpiece work. Sadly, this is the only thing I has of yet put out by Aosoth, but I know the label they're signed to, Agonia, has a few other LPs still in stock, and I'm pretty sure Osmos carries a few albums by them, but God, this album right here is the magnum opus in my view, and the fan favorite, because everything just feels so artistic and meticulous, but nothing about this album is pretentious. It's refreshing, it's creative, that I feel like, you know, new fans of black metal, the diehard fans of black metal, can both find an agreement and a lot of enjoyment with this album. Also, by the way, I forgot to mention, the album title is Arrow and Heart. Forgot to say that. But yeah, keeping it going. Album artwork, backside with track listings, comes on a gatefold, basically a band picture, and the other side basically folds out like so to show you the whole artwork. Once again, double LP, but both on plain black vinyl. After that, there's some death metal. That would be Aoplexy with their album Tears of the Unborn. So these guys were a death metal band from Slovakia, out of all places, that formed in the early 90s. That overall it's just some really good stripped down death metal that obviously takes a lot of influence from the Finnish death metal scene. Stuff like Convults and Demigod, bands of the sort, obviously takes such influence from it. The one thing though I will say that's really odd about this album is you'll have like these, you know, very stripped down heavy death metal moments. Then right after that there's these interlude tracks of these really pretty, gleamy, glossy acoustic guitar ballads that just seems so fucking out of place. Like, everything is played well, the death metal parts and the acoustic parts, but just the track listing seems just so odd. Like, trust me, just listen to this album, listen to 2 tracks in a row and you'll know what I'm talking about. Other than that, this album was put out through The Crypt, which again is a great label if you're a fan of both, you know, vinyl and old school death metal. They're always putting out great stuff. But yeah, I got it for dirt cheap, and I figured, why the fuck not? If you're a death metal fan, you can definitely find some enjoyment with this album. So again, routine, got album artwork, backside with track listings and band photo. Standard plain black vinyl, but also comes with an insert sheet with more band pics and lyrics to go along with everything. Next up is the debut full length by Aquelis. Aquelis is an Australian black metal band that combines a lot of neo-folk into their sound. That really, this band sounds more like an extreme metal orchestra than just your typical black metal band. And I find a lot of enjoyment with this album, just how classical and artistic it is, and it's very atmospheric and very blissful of an album. That really, even though it's labeled a black metal band, and apparently the guy behind this project says that it's an atmospheric black metal band, which, wow, never heard that before. To me, I would say if you're a fan of Opeth, like the first 3 albums by Opeth, you'll find a lot of enjoyment with this band. Tracks on here that I think are really worthy of checking out are The Fawn, Night Bell, and Smokefall. Easily have the standout parts about this, because again, there's just such a heavy usage of like orchestrate types of instrumentations of violins and cellos, and even the guitars aren't really played like a metal band. Just, it's like, it has extreme metal moments that, you know, would classify it as, you know, an extreme metal band, but there's just so much other usage of instruments being played here that it's hard to believe that this was all constructed and thought out by one individual. So this is a Blood Music repress, I think, put out either in 2019 or 2018. The last time I checked, there are still copies available, so, you know, get them while you can. And again, keeping it going, artwork, backside, comes on a gatefold. Double LP, as most Blood Music pressings usually come on, but this album's over an hour long, so it's justifiable. And this one comes on crystal clear vinyl. As well, I had the follow-up EP, that being Arbor. Really, to put this in short, it's just a continuation of the full-length, you know, comprised into an EP that it's really just feels like leftover tracks. It's really nothing new. That if you like the full length, if you try checking it out, you'll have no problem enjoying the material here on this EP, you know, and vice versa. If you don't like the full length, don't check out this EP. It's really that simple. But again, yeah, Blood Music pressed this, and I figured why not get it with the full length when they did the represses for it. Only thing else to talk about with this album is the layout for it. Got the artwork, backside with track listings, single LP surprisingly by Blood Music, and once again comes on a crystal clear vinyl. Next up is some Finnish black metal titans that I feel like anyone that likes Finnish black metal should know. And that would be Archgoat with their debut full-length Whore of Bethlehem. I feel like I'm going to break the hearts of a lot of black metal fans saying this, but I really don't have much by Archgoat. Before, I think I had like maybe 5 or 6 LPs. Now I only have 2 by them because really to me, Archgoat is a band that all you really need by them are like 2 records, and you've basically heard everything this band's capable of. And I know it's going to sound like such an insult, but regardless, I still enjoy them for what they are. Because their writing is pretty simplistic but very entertaining. That they'll play fast, slow it down a bit, and then play fast again. That way the slower parts have more groove to it that give like the listener a break. And the fast parts just sound crazy and beefy as you would expect with a band that combines both black metal and death metal. I will say though that this has my personal favorite Archgoat song, that being Black Crusade, because the riff in the middle of it is just so goddamn fucking infectious how it goes. As well too, I would say out of all the full lengths by Archgoat, this is the most raw and primitive sounding. Sure, the demos and EP prior to this, which there's a lot of them, which that's kind of surprising, I will admit, that this band formed, I want to say like 1990. I know it's like really early 90s, and it took them like a decade and a half basically to do a full length. But there's a lot of material prior to this, but again, in terms of full lengths, I would say this is the most raw and primitive within their discography. This vinyl variant right here is a repress through Deborah Morty Records, which I'm pretty sure they still carry loads of copies still in print, because Archgoat, for the band that they are, sells a lot of copies for a band that blends black metal and death metal together, so Godspeed to them with them growing. But for me personally, I really only need 2 records by them and I'm basically set. But keeping the routine going still, you have the artwork, backside with track listings, gatefold, and what usually Deborah Morty does with all the Archgoat records that are full lengths is they have the booklet kind of stapled in within the gatefold to give you the lyrics and more additional artwork with it. Plain black vinyl, but this one comes with a poster, which I'm pretty sure is the artwork, but instead of a skeleton of the Virgin Mary, it's her in her flesh, because, you know, Archgoat needs to have every record with fucking tits hanging out at some point within the artwork. The only other record I have by Archgoat is the one that really propelled them to get a lot more attention, that being the Apocalyptic Triumphator. Man, let me tell you guys, in 2015, this was an album that everyone was talking about. My god, the attention this album got when it dropped. I couldn't go a day without being on either Facebook or Instagram and someone was talking about this album, basically, you know, describing it as Nuns, Cunts, and Darkness, which, yeah, that's one of the fan favorite tracks on here, which is quite the ridiculous song title. But really, this is the album that I think, if you want to get into Archgoat, it's the best place to start, because it still has that primitive sound, but it's not as harsh as everything prior to it. Like, it's still a pulverizing album, but I would say just a smidge more accessible, that I think is a huge reason why just so many people kind of jumped on this album when it was released. But as you guys can see, mine looks a little bit different from a lot of other people that showed off, because it's got like these defects on it. You know, just kidding, obviously. I got it signed when I saw them back, I think, in 2016 when they played in Massachusetts. The guitarist and the drummer both signed it, which was really cool. But yeah, other than that, like as I stated, this and the Whore of Bethlehem really are going to be the only 2 things I own by Archgoat, because if I'm in the mood for them, I'll put on either the Whore of Bethlehem, which is more raw, or if I'm not really in the mood for something that, you know, harsh, I'll listen to the Apocalyptic Triumphant. Once again, another Deborah Morty repress, but it comes with some goodies. Again, big ass booklet with just artwork and lyrics to go along with everything. Plain black vinyl once again, and as well too comes with an A2 poster, and I got it signed as well too from the two members that signed the jacket, which was pretty cool. Nearing the end now for this vinyl collection part. Next up is a band that everyone needs to listen to, because if you say the words melodic death metal is weak, shut the absolute fuck up and check this band out. And that would be Ares Kingdom with their full-length Incinerary. Heavy ass-kicking melodic death metal with a strong usage of thrash metal that, yeah, I know a lot of people are going to say, well, it's just a death thrash band, Wyatt. It's not melodic death metal. Wrong, wrong, wrong. There is such a strong usage of just melody just layered throughout every single guitar riff on this album. There's no way you can convince me that there isn't like melodic death metal just straight up at some parts in this album. So I consider Ares Kingdom a melodic death metal band for the most part that uses some elements of thrash metal at some points. But this for me is the absolute best within their discography. Sadly, I don't have much by them. I have Incinerary right here and the follow-up, which I'll show in a little bit. But fuck, man, this album is just so awesome that I urge you, again, if you're a melodic death metal denier that just doesn't care for the subgenre and think all of it is just Amon Amarth ripoffs or At the Gate ripoffs, you gotta check out Ares Kingdom. If memory serves me right, I got this LP at Armageddon, like, you know, most of the records I've been talking about as of thus far within this series, and this is the Die Hard edition that comes in this jacket right here, or slipcase I should say, that you know, just take it off and then you get the regular artwork, which you can see right here. This was put out through Nuclear War Now, so I'm pretty sure they still got, you know, regular copies still in print, as Nuclear War Now usually does with their records. But yeah, other than that, artwork for it, backside with track listings, as well comes on a gatefold, single LP, printed in a sleeve, side A and side B. And this is the picture disc, which at the time I didn't know it was a picture disc, they didn't tell me, but thankfully it actually sounds pretty decent for a picture disc. Oh shit, also forgot to mention it also comes with more stuff, because Nuclear War Now just loves to spoil all their buyers who collects music. Big ass booklet with artwork and lyrics to go along with everything. Comes as well with a back patch. And finally a poster, which as much as I love Ares Kingdom, I gotta admit all the posters that comes with Ares Kingdom records are butt fucking ugly. Because I don't know, just I can't really tell what's going on with this artwork. So I don't know, Ares Kingdom, love you guys, but god fucking damn, you pick out the ugliest fucking artwork when it comes to your posters. Second to last up within this part is going to be Ares Kingdom, once again with their latest album from last year, By the Light of Their Destruction. I didn't listen to that much death metal in 2019, but for me personally, this was the best death metal album I heard of that year. That, again, just ass-kicking melodic death thrash that needs to be listened to, and I wish more people would check out. That way people would stop thinking that melodic death metal is weak and it sucks. Because, again, when I hear that, I just assume you don't know who these guys are. But, yeah, I would say with this album, there's definitely a stronger usage of thrash metal in this. Like, there's still, you know, melody throughout the album, but it's more of a death thrash album with, like, melodic death metal usage, you know, here and there. But tracks to definitely check out are Dark Water, Dennis, and 18 Degrees Beneath, along with The Bones of All Men. Just, again, killer stuff, once again, by Ares Kingdom. Just like the last album was put out through Nuclear War Now, which I'm pretty sure Nuclear War Now still carries loads of copies, still widely available to pick up. So again, album artwork, backside with track listings, comes on a gatefold booklet, like just all the other booklets, artwork and lyrics to go along with everything. Once again, another poster, which again, this artwork is just fucking hideous. It's like every album by Ares Kingdom just has like such ugly poster artwork that I just makes me want to throw up. Like what's going on? Like just use the regular album artwork or something. Just Again, Aries Kingdom, they make killer riffs, but they suck at making, or picking out, I should say, artwork when it comes to their posters. Final thing for this vinyl collection part is another melodic death metal band that is very similar to that of Aries Kingdom, because Aries Kingdom kind of obviously takes quite the influence from this band. And that would be Argus Lint with the compilation of the first 3 demos. Yes, in my view, one of the best death metal bands ever, and from the States. That this compilation right here is all their demos, that for me personally, early Argus Lint isn't all that great. Like, it's decent, but it has like that demo quality that's very raw, that just doesn't complement the riffs as much as the full lengths and later material by them. And a lot of people would say that the demos are great, it's so raw and rugged and just, you know, hits harder. No. When it comes to melodic death metal, I need good, high-key production value. That way it complements the riffs and makes it all the thicker and heavier. And the demo material, as good as it is, because, you know, you got Mob of the Howling, Swallow, Bastard Son of 1000 Whores, you know, with a song title, The Entity, A Somber War Cry. Overall, really good stuff, but it just doesn't hit as much as other stuff, which we'll be talking about in the next part in this series. And one other thing I want to state too, that just I roll my eyes and cringe at, is when I see people talk about Argus Lint, they usually say, oh, it's not death metal technically, it's more like power metal with death metal growls. No. Those are people that are just too fucking embarrassed to just admit they found a good melodic death metal band. Other than that, this was put out through Drakkar, which I'm pretty sure it's long gone sold out. But yeah, keeping it going, you have the album artwork, backside with track listings, and even a flyer of a festival they played, which I find it weird that Argus Lint played a festival with Dying Fetus, Internal Bleeding, The Chasm, and Nile, along with others, because it's just hard to imagine a band like Argus Lint playing with bands like that. And lastly comes on a gatefold double LP, both on plain black vinyl. Alright guys, that's it for this vinyl collection part. Like always, I'll have links provided to everything I talked about, even what was playing in the background in the description below. And that is that. So yeah, like always, next week I'll continue on with this series. And most importantly, guys, make sure you guys drink plenty of water to stay hydrated, and make sure you guys judge people by actually getting to know them and confronting them, and not through a YouTube comment section.